Welcome, young adventurers, to the incredible journey of Harriet Tubman, a true American hero. Harriet's story is one of bravery, courage, and an unyielding spirit for freedom. Let's embark on a journey through time to learn about her amazing life. Harriet Tubman was born around 1822 in Dorchester County, Maryland. Back then, she was known as Araminta Ross, or Minty for short. Minty was born into slavery, which meant she and her family had to work very hard without getting paid. Life was tough, but little Minty was even tougher. From a young age, Minty worked in the fields, forests, and homes of her enslavers. Despite the harsh conditions, she remained strong and determined. Minty loved hearing stories about freedom and yearned for the day she could be free herself. When Minty was about 12 years old, something happened that would change her life forever. She witnessed an overseer trying to hurt another enslaved person. Brave Minty stepped in to help, but she was struck in the head with a heavy object. This injury caused her to have seizures and headaches for the rest of her life, but it also strengthened her resolve to fight for freedom. As she grew older, Minty decided to change her name to Harriet in honor of her mother, and took her husband's last name, Tubman. Harriet Tubman was ready to take control of her destiny. In 1849, Harriet made a daring decision. She was going to escape from slavery and head north to freedom. It was a perilous journey, but Harriet was determined. She traveled by night, guided by the North Star and helped by the Underground Railroad, a secret network of safe houses and kind people who assisted runaway slaves. Harriet's journey was long and dangerous. She had to avoid slave catchers and navigate through dense forests and across rivers. But she was smart and resourceful. She used songs as codes to communicate with other enslaved people and followed the advice of her Quaker friends, who were staunch abolitionists. Finally, after many weeks, Harriet crossed into Pennsylvania, a free state. She was free at last, Harriet later recalled.
When I found I had crossed that line, I looked at my hands to see if I was the same person. There was such a glory over everything. The sun came like gold through the trees and over the fields, and I felt like I was in heaven.
But Harriet's story doesn't end there. She knew she couldn't be truly free while her family and friends remained enslaved. So she made a bold choice. She would return to the South and help others escape. Over the next decade, Harriet made 13 trips back to the South, guiding over 70 enslaved people to freedom, including her own family. Harriet was deeply spiritual. After her head injury, she often had vivid dreams and visions which she believed were messages from God. These visions gave her strength and guidance throughout her life, reinforcing her belief that she was chosen to lead her people to freedom. On her first rescue mission, Harriet returned to Maryland to rescue her niece, Keziah, and Keziah's children. They traveled at night, moving quickly and quietly to avoid detection. Harriet's clever strategies and deep knowledge of the land kept them safe. Each journey was filled with danger. Harriet used her knowledge of the land, her courage, and her faith to lead her people to safety. She carried a pistol for protection and often sang spirituals to boost the spirits of those she was leading. She never lost a single passenger on her railroad. Once in the North, Harriet didn't rest. She worked tirelessly to help other freed slaves adjust to their new lives. She found them jobs, provided shelter, and even donated her own hard-earned money to support them. Harriet also became a powerful speaker. She traveled across the North, sharing her story and advocating for the abolition of slavery. Her powerful words and first-hand experiences moved many to join the fight against slavery. Harriet's fight for justice didn't stop with the end of slavery. She joined the women's suffrage movement, working alongside famous activists like Susan B. Anthony and Elizabeth Cady Stanton. Harriet believed that women deserved the same rights as men, including the right to vote. When the Civil War broke out in 1861, Harriet didn't stop fighting. She became a spy, nurse, and scout for the Union Army. Harriet even led an armed expedition that freed more than 700 enslaved people in South Carolina. She was truly a woman of many talents and endless bravery. After the war, Harriet settled in Auburn, New York. She continued to work for justice and equality, helping to establish schools for freed slaves and supporting the women's suffrage movement, which fought for women's right to vote. Harriet opened her home to those in need, showing the same compassion and courage she had shown throughout her life. Harriet Tubman passed away in 1913, but her legacy lives on. She is remembered as Moses for leading her people to freedom, and her life story continues to inspire people around the world. She showed us that one person's bravery and determination can change the world. Today, Harriet Tubman is celebrated in books, songs, and even movies. She has been honored with countless awards and memorials. Schools and bridges are named after her, and she is set to appear on the $20 bill, reminding us all of her incredible contributions to history. In classrooms across the country, children learn about Harriet Tubman's extraordinary life. Teachers tell her story to inspire young minds to stand up for justice and equality. Thank you for joining us on this journey through the remarkable life of Harriet Tubman. Keep her story in your heart and let it inspire you to make the world a better place.